Get to know the USA. Volume 1. Enjoy your visit. Part 1. Part 1 covers general information and American culture. Knowing the background of the country and its people helps one better understand what one sees today. 1. Pieces of a puzzle. A look across the states. It's a super-sized country. America is huge. Everyone knows that. However, many people don't really understand what all that means. The United States of America is a super-sized country in many ways. First, it is huge as far as landmass. It is so big, there are 4 different time zones. When it is 9 a.m. in New York, it is still only 6 a.m. in Los Angeles. A trip by plane from coast to coast will take 6 hours. To fly from New York to Alaska or Hawaii will take much longer. Because of its size, the United States has many different climates. These differences in nature also affect the way people live, what they value, and how they feel about things. Second, everything is spread out across the country. Local governments have the power to make legal decisions on many issues. It is surprising to learn that so many things are covered by state laws instead of national or federal laws. Also, laws do not stop at the state level. Cities and towns also have their own laws. For example, you can find a dry town, that is, one that greatly limits the sale of alcohol, within a larger area that does not limit alcohol so much. School systems, too, are different from district to district. What is taught in schools can also be very different from school to school. Also, the school system itself can vary widely. In some areas, for example, middle school can be made up of 6th grade to 8th grade. In other areas, it can be from 5th grade to 8th grade. The economically powerful areas are also more spread across the United States than they are in Japan. The headquarters of major companies are not always to be found in the big cities, such as New York, Washington, D.C., or Los Angeles. Headquarters could be in Texas, or Ohio, or anywhere. This also affects people's ways of life, values, and attitudes in different areas. I can talk about the way people live and their attitudes in cities such as New York, for example, but the attitudes and lives of people in New York may not be the same as those of people in Florida. It means little to talk about things in a general way about the United States or the American people, as things are different all over. You may hear or read about the American lifestyle on TV and magazines in Japan. Do not take what you hear as general information. It is likely to just be true for one certain area. Just because you hear or read that it's very popular in America doesn't mean that it is popular. It's more likely to only be true for a very small group of people in one area. A person living in a college town in California may say, Americans are very easygoing about fashion. It's okay to go anywhere in just a t-shirt and shorts. But that may not be okay in a college town on the East Coast. It is not okay in New York City. If you really want to know about something in a certain area, the best way is to ask local people from that area. Big laws, little laws. State versus federal. When you enter the U.S., you have to fill in the immigration papers at the airport. This is a part of immigration law. Immigration law is a national or federal law, and it may be the only federal law you have to directly deal with while you are in the U.S. In the U.S., many everyday laws are state laws, not federal laws. How old you have to be to get a driver's license, how much the sales tax is, what you need to get married, what you need to get divorced, and so on. These things are all covered by state laws. A 16-year-old teenager can get a driver's license in some states, but has to wait till he is 17 or 18 in other states. You may have to pay sales tax on clothes in New York, but not on clothes in Connecticut. If you murder someone, you may be sentenced to death in one state, but not in another state. Most licenses are ruled by the state. Licenses for drivers, lawyers, accountants, nurses, teachers, and many others are state licenses. What is needed to get a license is often different from state to state. What this means is that it is hard to get general information about most legal issues in the U.S. You can't get answers to questions such as, how old do you have to be to get a driver's license in the United States? Or, how are things divided up between people in a divorce? In the U.S., a state is much more than just a way to break up the country into smaller parts. Unlike the Japanese prefecture, a state works almost like a separate country. If you move to a different state, you have to apply again for a new driver's license. Even your will for after you die will not be effective if you move to live in another state. You need to make a new will according to the state you live in. It is no wonder there are so many lawyers in America.